Hello, and welcome to the podcast that discusses all things gaming. Coming to you from the home of Indie PopCon, GenCon, and the gaming capital of the world, we are the Established Facts.
Why, hello, everybody.
I'm surprised you didn't just say, hey, man.
No, that's... Hey, man. I got a question. How is everybody?
It's,
Yeah, it's... if you can't tell...
I'm fine.
It is day 4, the end of day 4 of GenCon 2019. And as always, this is our GenCon review show for GenCon of 2019. Before we get into our discussions on what we liked and what we didn't, let's go ahead and go around the table and introduce those who are on the microphone. We'll start to my right.
I am Lance.
This is Princess Katie.
This is Josh.
This is Dr. Deb.
And I, of course, am your host, Big Don. So, I know that, you know what, real quick, I just want to get a general opinion of how, general opinion, that's right, right next to General Store, of how everybody felt about their overall Gen Con, kind of an overall grade for their final day of Gen Con, and then let's get into some fun details. So, Deb, I'd like to go ahead and start with you. What was your overall experience with Gen Con 2019?
Okay, because you made the statement of, how was your last day of Gen Con? Well, my last day of Gen Con was actually yesterday, because I didn't get a chance to go today.
Sure.
I had the kid duty.
Right, but that's why I figured if I give you the general broad stroke of how was it overall for you.
So if we're grading, so A plus down to like F, right? So we're in a classroom situation. I think I would have to be A minus. So it was definitely a thumbs up. I'm trying to decide if we're up to 2 thumbs up, but I'm thinking 1.5 thumbs up.
At least a thumb and a half.
At least a thumb and a half.
3 knuckles.
There you go. 3 knuckles. There you go. So 3 knuckles to the wind, I think, is
Oh wow.
So
goodness.
So that's my
gracious.
grade.
That's funny. Joshy, what would you say, kind of just an overall broad stroke grade for your Gen Con 2019?
I'd be good to go with about the A minus range as well. I think we'll explain a little bit more about this later, but this was probably Deb and I's most adult and relaxed Gen Con we've had.
Well.
When we
It's all
explain
safe
later, it'll
tonight.
make a lot more sense.
Sure.
But it was a lot more relaxed than in previous years.
Very cool.
Agreed.
Princess Katie.
I would say like solid B minus C plus.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right.
I will elaborate when we
Yes,
get back
absolutely.
around to the
Lance.
elaborating stage.
Lance.
In scale of the 7 dice set, I put it along the lines of a double polyhedral. Not quite the D20, but way not the D4.
D10?
The double D10.
Oh,
the percentile.
Gotcha.
It's better than the D10 because it's got 2.
Right.
So,
Gotcha.
okay, so percentile. You're rolling some percentile.
Yeah,
dice.
it's-
That's for this.
Well, maybe the 12 is a little bit higher than that. So I'd
It
put
is.
I'd put it at the percentile dice.
Okay.
Just below the 12 and the 20, but way above the 4 and the 6 and the 8.
So right down the middle.
No, just above the middle.
Just
Higher,
above
a
the
little
middle.
higher than the middle.
The
Yeah.
D10, the regular 10, is the middle.
So he's
That's
above
true.
the middle. That's true.
Okay. Got you. Got you.
This is what
You
happens.
are just, I love how cryptic you can be
on
sometimes.
day 4.
Okay. Well, I would definitely say my overall opinion for Gen Con this year, I guess if we're giving it a grade, since Dr. Deb kind of set that precedent, I'm totally fine with following in her footsteps and doing that. I would say my overall experience was probably You know what? Because I'm an optimist, I'm gonna give it a solid A minus. I thought about B plus, but I think A minus is really where I can honestly place this year's Gen Con. So let's get into a little bit more detail. Now, for those of you who have not gotten a chance to listen to one of our regular convention review episodes when we've done PopCon or HoosierCon or even Gen Con in the past, what we like to do is we like to talk about the events, or not necessarily the gaming events, but just kind of something that happened during Gen Con that was one of our favorite things, that was a non-gaming event or non-gaming experience, and then we'll talk about some of the things that we liked the least that were non-gaming events, and then we'll talk about what our favorite and least favorite game that we played during the weekend was. We'll highlight some of the things that we were surprised about having fun with, and then kind of what we're looking forward to in the year to come when it comes to conventions and when it comes to Gen Con as well. I think for the most part, bar maybe an appearance at Indiana Comic Con or Horror Hound or something along those lines that may be somewhat off the cuff or something like that. Gen Con's usually kind of the last convention for most of us to really all experience, I think. But again, we'll see. We may surprise ourselves before the end of the year and go to another one or two. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with Lance. Lance,
Yes?
what was your favorite non-gaming experience at Gen Con this year? Or during the weekend of Gen Con?
There were very few non-gaming moments for me this Gen Con. I was booked from 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday through to midnight. Similar on Friday, similar on Saturday, and then I think my latest day was today, where things actually started at 9, because I had places to be at 8 o'clock, and I went until straight up 2 o'clock.
Nice.
So there were very few non-gaming things that happened for me. So I'm going to go with my annual Saturday Spaghetti Factory dinner. My wife and I go to the Spaghetti Factory downtown Indianapolis, the old Spaghetti Factory,
Yeah, man.
for lunch, just to kind of get away from the crowds.
Sure.
Right at the time they open for lunch, so there's very few people in there. We can get a good seat, have a nice meal, kind of sit down, relax in comfy chairs. And this year we were joined by the Demarys.
Nice. That's very cool.
We also have a tradition of bringing a game and playing with the waitstaff,
Right.
which we continued this year.
I know that a couple of years ago you played, what was the Kraken game?
Dixon Krakens.
Dixon
Combat
Krakens, that's right.
Shoots and Ladders.
Yep, that's right.
We have brought that game back every year.
Okay.
And have played it with the waitstaff every
That's
year.
great.
We played it with Josh and Deb and the waiter, and he was surprisingly into it. He kept telling us, I have to get to my next table, and then he would roll the dice.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then he moved on. It was great.
And he was a good guy. Liked him a lot. Craig was his name. So
Nice.
Craig Harmon. So if you are listening to this and you happen to go
Craig
to the old Spaghetti
Harmon.
Factory, Craig Harmon, nice guy. And the whole experience was a pretty good one.
That's cool. Princess Katie.
Yes. Still doing favorite non-gaming related?
Yes, favorite non-gaming related event, occurrence, something like that. And even if it's not necessarily directly related to Gen Con, if it was something that just happened during the weekend of Gen Con, I guess.
Well, I think my favorite non-gaming event would be the bath bomb class that Jake and I did. It was a lot of fun. We made
Yeah.
bath bombs. He knows how much I love them. I have an entire basket of them at home. And the guy teaching the class was
You're supposed to use them, right?
hilarious. Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but I buy 50 of them at a time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, when I buy bath bombs, it's en masse because Lush is so far away from where we live.
Gotcha.
It's a 45-minute drive. I'm stocking up.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, so we did that. The guy teaching it was hilarious. He's actually local. He does crafting stuff here in Indy. So
Very cool.
It was a really fun class. The people we had at our table were hilarious. We sat across from another couple, and we spent the whole time joking with them. And so it was really fun energy.
That's awesome. Joshy,
Yes.
what was your favorite non-gaming event during the Gen Con weekend?
My wife and I's first lift ride.
Really?
Yep.
Yes.
I know it seems strange, but it was so Gen Con had a deal worked out with Lyft where it was like 15% off all Lyft rides throughout the weekend.
Nice.
And it was your first one, you have $5 off your first one. This is about the most first world gaming thing I could ever think
It was
of.
a
but
crisis. It was.
It was. We were, number one, we were at St. Elmo's Steakhouse for our dinner, as I mentioned
Suffering.
earlier, our adulting.
Suffering.
We're
The
suffering.
night
Oh my
before we had
gosh.
sushi. So Friday night we had sushi, and Saturday night we had St. Elmo's because this is vacation time for us, whatever. But I was like, we have a 5-hour game from 8 to 1 o'clock, and we don't have any drinks, snacks, nothing. We didn't bring
Snacks.
anything.
That's how bad it was,
Yeah.
people.
So I
We don't have enough
got
time.
Lyft to come pick us up, take us to the Speedway at Kentucky and South, and then bring us back to the convention center. It cost me $7.
No, it was $9.
Yeah, it was 10 after tip.
Like 9 or 10 after tip.
That is, if there is anything that I might call the epitome of first world.
It was going to take too long to get
It
to
is-
our car, drive to the gas station, and then make it back on time.
And
Clearly
what
you've
I
never ridden a yacht into another yacht.
oh
I hate it when that happens. Especially when like it's somebody else on the other yacht and their yacht's smaller than yours and they run into you and
No,
you're
no.
just like,
I mean, you ride your yacht into, like, parking
oh,
your
you
yacht
dock
in
your
the,
yacht
in the mega yacht.
in your bigger yacht.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
now that's fun.
definitely.
I love parking yachts inside each other. It's like little matryoshkas of yachts.
Yes. So yeah,
the
every,
established facts.
yeah,
the
everything that
first
just happened is why it was my
world
favorite
gaming
non-gaming
podcast.
moment.
Nice. Yeah. What I love is in my head, I'm thinking, oh, you just went to Speedway gas station. That's only like a 4.5, 5 block walk,
Yes.
Or one Lyft ride.
or one $7 Lyft ride.
Yep.
Right. The walk wouldn't have been the problem if we had about another 30 minutes.
The time was getting close.
The game was at 8 and it was 7 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it was even, I think it was like 7:15.
Almost, yeah. He dropped us back off at 7:30. We were still there before everybody to finish mustering.
Yeah.
Not everybody. Adam was there.
Adam was there,
No, Josh was because Adam's run late. So,
Either
yeah,
way.
funny story. That's why it's my favorite non-gaming moment.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Wow. Not anything near what I was expecting, but that's great. Okay. Deb, how about you?
Well, mine is going to dovetail directly into the Lyft ride because mine was the St. Elmo's meal that we were at. One, because I just love St. Elmo's, so, just... Yeah. And the second was because we were next to a couple, Andrew and Liz
From Missouri.
from Missouri. If you're listening, hi. We had an awesome time talking to you. They were right next to us, and they were celebrating their anniversary during GenCon. So they got the St. Elmo's anniversary treatment, which they were really excited about. And then just talking about, and it turns out that he graduated from Truman State, which is in the same town of Kirksville where my medical school was.
Oh, nice.
So when I told him, I graduated from a medical school in Missouri, and he's like, oh, okay, which one? And I was like, well, I said, you probably don't know where it's at, Kirksville College of Osteopathic Medicine. And he was like, yeah, AT Still University. And I'm like, what? He's like, I graduated from Truman State, which is like 5-10 minutes away from medical
Nice.
school. So that was a very small world.
That's funny.
She has a degree in, chemistry and physics. So she's very sciencey herself. So anyway, it was just fun. We were having a blast talking about the stuff we like to do. And anyway, and we were both, adulting, which was awesome. So that was just terrific. And then as soon as we got done, we hopped into a Lyft for our emergency sacrifice run, and we made it back. And at the moment, my son is expressing his dissatisfaction that he did not have his pacifier. So we are working on that.
No biggie.
So you have been informed.
That's right.
So yeah, that's my non-gaming.
Very cool.
Thumbs up.
Well, I would have to say for myself, my favorite non-gaming occurrence during the Gen Con weekend came from an actual gaming event. The game master who was running the Starfinder game, Cats in Space, that Bonnie and... Cats in Space! Because there's like legitimately 5 A's in the word.
Okay.
His name is Corey Fink. He is from Vincennes, Indiana, and former Game Store owner and operator, which I thought was really cool. But we had such a good time in the game, and the game ended around lunchtime-ish. And so we actually, Bonnie and myself, and our friend Andrea, who I guess that would probably be my honorable mention, was the fact that Bonnie got a chance to hang out with our friend Andrea, who was at GenCon not only for her birthday, but also for the first time ever for all 4 days. She loved it and had a really good time. But we were all in a game together on Saturday morning, and we had such a good time, and the GM was such a cool dude, that we all sat in the food court afterwards and just really got to know each other for like potentially, I don't know, an hour and a half. Something like that. And, I got to, like, Bonnie and Andrea got to talk to him for a little bit, and then they had to bugger off to a game around 2 o'clock. And then I didn't have a game until 3 o'clock, so he and I just sat around for like another 45 minutes or so, just getting to know each other. And he's a very nice guy, and we actually ended up running into him on the way out today when the con closed. Which was really cool because we were all parked in the same garage and everything like that. So we walked to the garage, and he got off on the third floor, and we went down one more floor to the second floor and called it a weekend. But that was, for me, because I love meeting new people and stuff like that. Like, that was probably my favorite. And I did something very different this year in logging all of the games that I actually played. And so I also made sure to take note of all the players that were in those games with me. And well, not necessarily in a responsible manner, but just because I wanted to really take note of not just the games I played, but kind of what happened during those games and the people that I met during them, and also for several of the people, to be able to try and make connections with them later on in case we wanted to try and do another game next year, or if they're local, to get together and play games during the year or something like that. So it was neat because, I got a chance to get to know him and kind of his lifestyle and stuff like that. So, okay. Yes, Katie.
I would like to amend my answer because I thought of something that is technically gaming related, but isn't like the game we played. We got our first ever signed copy of a game this year. Signed by the guy that designed it, because we played it with the guy that designed it, then went and bought it, and he signed it for us.
That's awesome.
Very cool. That's always fun.
That is
you can get the designer or the lead, writer or whatever it is on stuff. So,
all right. So, what was our least favorite experience at GenCon this year? Non-gaming, least favorite. And we'll go opposite order. We'll go ahead and start with Deb and come back around the other way.
Yeah, I'm literally kind of going through and trying to think, because I didn't have a lot of negative ones.
Well, again, it's least favorite, so it doesn't necessarily have to be, I hear you to this, but out of all the things, this was probably what I liked the least. Not going to GenCon on Sunday or something like that.
That's actually, this sounds funny. That's actually, I think that's actually it. And I'm not trying to make, it's not trying to make anyone feel bad. My husband, I'm really not, but it was a little bit of a bummer because it would have been nice to play one more second ed game, Pathfinder, or play a Starfinder game, because I didn't play any Starfinder this year, and I really like it, but it just didn't happen. So I think that's probably it, because I always feel like Sunday's a nice, kind of last hurrah, especially if you've been up stupid late Saturday night. You feel like you got your I am an insane gamer badge because you still go on Sunday.
That's right.
But I didn't because I had the kids, and it was still a good day.
It's not so much the end of the day on Sunday. It's when you wake up on Sunday morning at 7 o'clock, 7:30, and you're just going. You're just going. I
really want to do?
Don't ever want to move again.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're exactly right. And so just not being with Josh, because Josh was he finished up on Sunday. He got to play a second ed game this morning, which he'll probably chat a little about. Anyway, so in the future, it would be neat if we could figure out how to do that. But this time, just the timing of the people watching the kids, and as we've discussed, it changes every year. GenCon has a little different flavor with people and kids, and eventually our kids are going to be able to come with us more to GenCon, more than just one day. So so that's probably my least favorite thing.
Joshy, what about you? Your least favorite non-gaming event or non-gaming experience, in, that kind of thing.
Non-gaming?
Non-gaming. Because games, I feel like, are a little easier to pick out. Like, oh, I liked this game a lot, but I didn't really like this game for, But something kind of in between the games, or something like that, or maybe just an experience with, like, I know that one thing. So something I can think of that I heard a lot of people kind of complaining about this weekend was that we were finishing up construction or reconstruction, doing some repair work on our highway I-70. That is
65.
And 65, but not as much on 65 as 70. They literally had 70 closed from downtown to the airport because they were repairing a lot of the roadways and things like that. And so I did hear a lot of people complaining a little bit about, like, why would Indiana choose to do construction? But it's like, well, I mean, there's
always a convention.
There's always conventions in Indianapolis, and so it's tough to just pick one over another weekend. So.
It wasn't supposed to be this weekend. This was all supposed to be done like a month ago, but because the entire month
of the rain,
May was nothing but rain every day,
they had to push everything back.
Yeah,
that
they
is a
couldn't
fact.
do the construction. Yeah, because that's everybody's like, why are they doing this?
Yep.
Like, Indiana didn't do it on purpose. It's just
No,
we can't control the weather.
April and May, it was rain 3 days, not rain 1.
Yeah.
So yeah. So sorry. Go ahead, Josh. I know.
So for me, it's going to start with a positive, but at least, anyways, for those who may have seen on Facebook, not seen on Facebook, our director for Breakfast Anytime Improv, Peter Spellos, came in and surprised everybody on there, except me, because I knew he was coming.
And Maggie.
I know. And Maggie Farley. Yes, Deb knew.
I knew.
So
I welcomed him with "What are you doing here?" and then called him a couple of choice words that he
course.
appreciated.
I know.
But
Very
most
much.
people may not.
Right. Anyways, so super positive that he came in. We rehearsed. We got ready for the show. We showed up at the door for our show, only to
Yep.
find that the people that were there before us took up until the last minute / overtime when Lance actually went in there and was like showing him the watch symbol that you guys need to be done and get out of here.
I had no problems with it.
I appreciate it, truly. So anyways, once they finally cleared out, we realized there were a couple tables on stage and some microphones, and we're like, we don't need microphones and we need all of the stage. So we tore down. There was no event staff around, nothing. We tore down. Only to then find that we tore down incorrectly. And there was
we tore down really.
Yeah,
Oh no,
well.
we tore down. Well, I'm not going to go into the he said she said stuff. Other than long and short of it, if the tables had not made it into the hallway, no one would have said anything.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I am appreciative of Peter for handling the situation, and I'm appreciative of GenCon event staff for handling it the way they were supposed to, because Peter handled it as a director, and they handled it as a boss running down their neck while the tables were out there. So,
Because the group before you didn't
Was
know
late.
how to use a watch.
place all the blame on the group that came up.
absolutely, totally
Because if
fine.
they were out on time, then we wouldn't have been running around like people with their heads cut off, or we might have found a Gen Con event staffer who could have
Right.
guided us in the way of the Force.
So what I will say though is that the Gen Con event staff did let us finish our show, and the show was absolutely incredible. And even later followed up, we should be good for next year and everything. So thank you to them for the misunderstanding / now we know what we need to put in our request for next year.
You got a lessons learned from
Yes, lessons learned, but probably not my favorite moment to hear about. To one, have to do a stagehand job both before and after our show, and then to find out it upset the staff when we certainly weren't trying to upset the staff. So, all in all, though, the show was incredible. So
next year, if it's coming up on time, I'll go and be the bad guy next time. We'll just start drawing straws. Who can be the person going and going? Can you get out to the people before you so you can actually have time to get in at your right time.
that'd be good.
Yeah. I'll take mean person job next time.
Princess Katie.
This is very easy. So this year I had the not so pleasure of experiencing what I have dubbed in my 7 years of attending Gen Con as my official least favorite event.
Yep. You had a Facebook post about
Yes,
this too, didn't you?
and I'm
So I
not
thought-
gonna talk about the event specifically. I'm not trying to call this person out or anything.
Right.
It was a dice bag event that I was very excited for, and we got there, and I've done a lot of crafting. I do crafting stuff every Gen Con. I love it. I love the wide array of stuff I can do that I can't do anywhere else. And most of the crafting events are put on by people who do this for a living, who make art and sell things, or who work as an art teacher, or all this other stuff. And unfortunately, I feel like our event was put on by someone who was like, I know how to sew. I can teach people how to sew. And they could not teach people how to sew. It was really disorganized. The instructions were horribly unclear. We spent a long time trying to get answers to our questions while the not moderator, but the person putting the event on was just off talking to people about completely non-related subject matter.
Yeah.
And like it took 3 or 4 people being like, hey, hello, like, can you explain this, please? Like, we don't know what we're doing.
Like, hey, just so you know, we've paid a lot of money to be here, and I don't know who those people are, but if they're not part of this event, you need to be over here paying attention.
Like, so it was really frustrating. And, like, as somebody who likes to take pride in the things that I do, I was kind of mad because I couldn't finish she's like, well, we only got 10 minutes left, so you guys don't have to finish these at home. And we were all like,
wow.
She's like, I'm just going to show you really quick how to finish them. Like, it was terrible. And so, I did
I'm irritated for you.
I did a hack job on mine to finish it there, and I'm going to fix it at home because, like,
Good.
I want it to actually be nice. But it was awful. Jake and I both were just like, wow, that was, like, it left a bad taste in our mouth the rest of the day. And, like, the whole day was a good day, but that was our first event of the day, and we were just like,
Yeah.
like, it was icky.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that. Lance, what about you, sir?
You know, before today, my answer was going to be the lack of mobility for people with wheelchairs, strollers, stretchers in the gameplay area, like the D, B, C, A.
Oh, in the old
area.
halls, yeah.
I mean, you can get through the wide aisles in the center.
But you can't get to the tables.
Right, but
Yeah.
let's say you have a game in a center table.
Yeah, it's tough.
You cannot get there.
Yeah.
People have to get up, move their
Move,
chairs
yeah.
out of the aisleway so you can roll in and then move their chairs back. It's super inconvenient. That would have been what I said before today. However, while playing the Pathfinder Society game, Pathfinder 2, there was an IT moment, you want to call
Oh, yes.
it, where
Yes.
the sound got unplugged from a computer, and then it was followed by a very loud hum.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
and it
was okay.
started off with a really loud pop,
Well,
too.
it was a pop,
Yeah.
which was upsetting, and the hum, which wasn't so bad. But then someone got the bright idea to unplug and plug, and unplug and plug.
Oh, really?
3 times in a
Was
row.
this after I had left?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no!
But then it was just the 3. After the third one, I yelled. I mean, the sergeant in me got his sergeant voice out and just yelled the word "stop," which was audible through the entire ballroom.
as it should have
Yeah.
been.
The
What are
people
you doing?
at the dais turned and looked at me.
Yes.
And then, about 10 minutes later, they did it again. And I straight up, and I apologized to my table for this. Threw the walker that I use, the wheeled walker, threw it down, and ran out of the room. I couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was my non-gaming.
Yeah, that's
Bad
a
moment.
Yeah, that's a
Luckily, our friend Adam
yeah.
is a very sweet man and took that moment to go up there and say some choice words
Good.
to and other tables at this point were upset
Sure.
at the same thing.
Well, I mean, you're first of all, you're interrupting people's gaming experiences, and second of all,
you're triggering people.
you're triggering people,
Right.
And that's probably the more important of those two things.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like, you guys don't know what you're doing, which
Right.
is why he yelled stop, because you'd have no clue what you're doing. So stop touching things and ask someone who knows what they're doing. There's probably several of them in this room who could at least advise you what to do next if
Yeah.
you don't know.
I'm starting to get kind of edgy just talking about it. Sure.
I'm edgy
So
for
I walked
you
away
because I'm
as quickly as my hobbly leg would let me. Went away. Just had to calm down, and then when the adrenaline went away and the pain kicked in, that's when I knew, okay, I'm doing better now. Mm-hmm. So I hobbled my way back to the table, and Adam was gone. He was talking to them, having his words, came back and kind of shared what he had done. So it was a very bad moment that kind of was punctuated by a good one.
Good. Okay. Wow. You know, what's funny is I was thinking about this when you started talking about this, started talking about our show, Josh. Was I can tell now that I had a really good weekend because I had totally forgotten about that happening on Thursday night. And I remember, you know, I was at the I didn't get a chance to play the entire Pathfinder game, but I played most of it, and it was a lot of fun. And I remember when that thing popped off, and I know that it set you on edge, but then it was just like for, I would say probably not over-exaggerating, a steady 2-3 minutes. That thing was just like this loud, and anybody who's ever worked with audio equipment, just this loud, almost feedback hum. And it was like, wow, that's not setting me off, but that is probably the most annoying thing that could be going on right now, because I'm trying to hear my GM across the table from me explain what's going on, because we're not going to stop playing just because you guys don't know what you're doing with the audio equipment. So that was definitely an annoying thing, and so was the show. I think for me, those things were definitely annoying, and to not repeat one or that you guys have done, not that it would bother me if I had. I was trying to think of something that bothered me this weekend, and outside of those two things, one thing that really bothered me this weekend is I was doing a demo on, when did I do that demo? Thursday. I was doing a demo on Thursday morning. It may have been at noon. It was Thursday at noon for Too Many Bones, which, if you've not played Too Many Bones, I highly recommend it, because I had a really good time playing Too Many Bones. The game is really good, and the gentleman who ran the game, let me look at my handy-dandy notebook. His name was Rob. Rob Drover was the name of the guy who ran the game, and he was a very nice guy. He in the middle of the demo, he goes, "Hey, I'm sorry if there's questions that I can't answer very well. I'm not an expert. I'm just an enthusiast." And I was like, I respect that, dude. I'm not normally one to
give more allowance for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, now that you've said that, no problem.
Not a problem. I understand. You know, we're trying to figure this game out. You're trying to run this game for us, but it was good. And I was a little annoyed at myself because I forgot that it was a 2-hour demo and not just an hour-long demo. And I was like, we got an hour in, and I was like, okay, but I feel like we're still learning the general basics of this game. And then we kept going, and I was like, I looked at my ticket, and I was like, oh, 2 hours, right?
I did something similar to that. I had, when I entered all my events into Google Calendar, I put one as starting at 2, and it actually started at noon. Luckily, there was nothing in that time slot. But I looked at the ticket, I looked at my phone, I was like, well, I'm going to say the ticket's right and my phone's wrong.
Yep, exactly.
Leave the ticket.
So what bothered me about that demo was that I don't know if he was one of the designers of the game or if he just worked for Chip Theory. But the guy who was kind of over the whole demo area, because they were actually running two versions of the base game of Too Many Bones, and then I don't know if it was a Too Many Bones expansion or if it was another game similar to it that that Chip Theory has created. But the guy who was running or responsible for the table and kind of running all the operation while we were playing, we as players are trying to ask questions about these individual characters, because in Too Many Bones, you play, in the demo version, you play one of 4 different characters, and it's basically a dice-based RPG, which I know that most RPGs are dice-based, but this is like all of your stats and all of your abilities go on these little indicator dice that you roll as your actions and things like that. And you're building your character based on these little dice modifications and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. And it's a really easy way to get somebody into a role-playing game without having to ever worry about touching a piece of paper, which I think is really cool. You can actually play a game of Too Many Bones. We played almost the full game of Too Many Bones in that 2-hour demo, cut out some stuff in the middle that we ended up just kind of adding things to our character as if we were to play through them. But the guy who was kind of over everyone, managing the demos, when we would ask him a question, like one of the guys at the table was playing a character named Tantrum, who was a barbarian, a Gearlock. The name of the race is Gearlock. He was a Gearlock barbarian, and he was like, "Hey, I have a question about this rage ability down here." And the guy literally looked at him and said, "Look, it's only a 2-hour demo, and if we're going to sit here and look through all of the character details and things like that on your page, you're never going to be able to actually get to the end of this demo. So it's really just better if you just play through whatever's going on right now and not look so much and not focus so much on your reference sheet."
Dang.
And I went, wow. You are literally representing your company.
I would have stood up and left.
No, I'm not going to leave. I had a really good time with the game.
Okay.
And here's the thing, like eventually,
run it.
well, and that's like eventually the guy was kind of actually sitting down with us, like, because before he was just kind of doing this like backseat driver thing where he was just kind of looming over everyone to make sure that the guys running the games was doing well. And then eventually he was actually having player interaction, which was better to an extent, because he was like, at one point he was sitting next to me and I just leaned over to him and I was like, "Hey, can you just explain what this," because I actually had this ability on my character. I was like, "Can you just like clarify what this ability does?" And he was like, "Oh yeah," and he was, kind of helping us through the roles. But it was like, instead of allowing us to understand the mechanics and figure out how to play the game based on the mechanics of the game, it was like, "Oh no, this is what your character really needs to do on this round. This is what your character," and I was like,
It was micromanaging.
yeah, and I'm like, first of all, I hate micromanaging.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody really likes being micromanaged.
And well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it literally makes my hair on the back of my neck stand on end. Like, bro, say one more thing. Tell me how to roll my dice one more time.
Right.
And I'm gonna throw these dice
You
across the
forgot
room.
to blow on them before you roll.
But then it was
So true.
right. But it was just like, he said that, and I was like, wow. So you have absolutely no pride in the product that you're trying to show us, that
Right.
you're trying to sell us for $130 in the exhibit hall.
Yeah. It's a
Because Too Many
pricey game.
Too Many Bones has like 110 or 120 dice alone in
Holy
it.
moly.
Yeah.
And then
That's a
because
lot of
each
dice.
character has
Yeah, no, I mean, that
20.
makes sense from the way you've explained it.
Yeah.
But like,
Right. And then you have all of these really cool die cut, like mouse pad style or neoprene mat style character sheets, basically, that you fill in holes where all the dice go, and there's all kinds of really neat components and stuff. But yeah, it's a pricey game. And I'm like,
you want to be like falling over backwards to
Right.
help people understand what's going on.
And I'm like,
telling
if
them
you're trying to
drop
teach me
$130,
right, if you're trying to teach me how to play this game because you want me to go and invest in it, and now I'm sitting here at a demo table and you're there, and you're gonna treat the players at your table like this, why do I want to go and spend $130 on this game?
yeah.
So, micromanaging actually kind of makes me think of something, and I don't want us to stir too much longer on negative because we
Sure,
we're trying to
sure.
talk
Yeah.
good things in the pot, but
That's why we start with positive things, so that we can set
We
the
can
bar.
sandwich the bad
Yeah,
and
but-
the
Sandwich the bad.
You mean
and
start-
the
Yeah.
nice
start with
little
good and
sandwich.
end with good.
we
There
definitely
you go.
started with negative. No,
No, we
I'm kidding.
didn't.
No, we didn't. We
I'm
started
kidding.
positive. Oh.
I'm kidding.
I did the same thing. And he was like, no, we didn't.
Sorry, it's 30, almost 40 minutes in. It's just, we've been on the topic, but so Pathfinder 2nd Edition launched, and we got to play. Some of us got to play 2, some played 1 2nd Edition Pathfinder Society game. And number one, I want to give major shout outs to both Nicholas and Gary that were our game masters for both the sessions today, because they were given the content 4 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
To learn the content
Second
and
edition.
second edition.
Not the module.
The
second
society
edition.
and the rules. Now, mind you,
Yeah.
anyone that's been playing the playtest has got at least an introduction to it, but they
Right.
were given official rules 4 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Basically
super
memorized
props to
600
them.
pages.
One of them was a lieutenant venture captain, and the other one, Nicholas, was a lieutenant venture captain.
Mm-hmm.
Gary was a venture captain in Nebraska, so he is he
Yeah.
knows this stuff.
Yeah.
He's not
I
a
think-
general store, but he's
Right.
definitely an adventure captain.
But you mentioned the micromanaging. I think that if there's one thing that may have turned off some people to society this time around, is it was very micromanaged.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was because they're
trying
they
to
were
teach a new system.
Exactly.
They're teaching a
trying
new-
to teach the new system.
And I get that. Here's the thing. I have no problem if you are doing a demo, like, Kayla, our friend Kayla and I, we actually went and did the 1 hour second ed demo today.
Okay,
Like,
we did it on
I went and
Friday?
played second ed with you guys.
Yep.
And then we went down and we played a D&D 5th ed game. So she's never played Dungeons and Dragons of any sort, and she liked it. And then we went and actually did, like, literally right after that, went over to the Paizo booth and did the 1 hour second ed
That
demo.
was a fun demo, wasn't it?
It's a good demo, but I agree with you that when you're demoing, you kind of have to. There is an art
It's a demoing.
to demoing a game and being able to teach people how to do it without telling them what they have to do. Telling them what they should do or could do or need to do is different than saying, no, what you have to do is, in the first 3 rounds, you have to, if you're a cleric, you have to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't have to do anything. So, yeah, Lance.
Now, one of the Paizo game running ladies did come over to our table. I waved at her and said hi, and she came over and chatted with me for a little bit. She said that her grandson is really enthusiastic about playing this game. And we had a chat about, if you've never played the original Pathfinder, the Pathfinder 2 is super easy to get into because it tells you what to do step by step.
Yep.
But the people that are having a problem are the people that are used to the older,
Yes.
the original version, because that was D&D 3.5 and
Right.
a little bit extra, and now they're being introduced to a whole new system.
That's
people
true.
that have played Dungeons and Dragons are used to this because we went from 2nd edition to 3rd 3.5.
Yeah,
The one that
Thaco
shall not be
to.
named, and
Exactly.
then
Right.
next /
Right.
5th ed. So
Yeah.
we've kind of gotten that down, but if you haven't played before, I guess you can just jump right into this, and it makes a whole lot more sense. It's easy
Yeah,
to pick up.
absolutely. I would agree with you on that. I would say that it's a lot easier to learn a new game than to have to adapt to a new system based on old information that you still have
Yes.
locked in your brain. Go ahead, Deb.
Well, first of all, I completely agree. As anybody who's been any sort of a crafter knows, if you're trying to, for example, if you are a knitter and you're trying to learn how to crochet, it is harder than if you've never learned any sort of craft at all.
Right.
Because your body remembers how to knit, and you're saying, no, don't do that, do this. And you're like, no, don't want to.
I'm using a single hook. Leave
Where's
me
my
alone.
other needle? Anyway, so I completely agree. But I would say, and I don't know if this is just a style point issue for Paizo, but, and again, I'm not trying to dwell on negative, but this is a kind of a fine point. Friday night, in the game that the 5th ed. I don't play
Second
5th ed. I
edition.
play 2nd edition. Help me, Lord. Pathfinder 2nd ed game that we played. Our game was going on at the same time as the Starfinder special.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
So
a really...
every 20 minutes, because y'all know how it goes, Starfinders, blah, 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 box text. Every 20 minutes.
Yep.
And so now, not only am I trying to understand 2nd ed, my brain is programmed for 1st ed, but now you're throwing in Starfinder references in the middle of this, and my brain is like, wait, what? So then our GM basically stopped because he can't, come on, he's not going to try to shout over what they're doing. We could have, but it would have probably just been worse. So then we stop, pause, 4 or 5 minutes, wait or whatever, to wait for him to do it. Okay, get back and do it again. And you never knew when they were going to do it. And then, oh my goodness. So guys, if you're introducing the new 2nd ed or anything,
Maybe don't have slots open during the special.
not during the special. Put it in a
Well,
different room. Do it. I don't know. But
so, I agree that it was
it was very jerky.
not the most optimal place to play.
We lost a half an hour of game time.
But I also understand what Paizo's doing. If Paizo's not able to fill the room for the Starfinder special to make up the cost of the room, they're going to fill it with other games.
Sure.
So they filled it with 1st, 2nd, and Adventure Card Guild.
Sure.
Like, all going on at the same time. Because Starfinder didn't fill it like the other special did. So, but I'm with you. It can be annoying.
It was very difficult because I'm trying to concentrate. I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to ask questions and stuff. And on top of the own chaos of a regular game, now you're throwing in Starfinder references to me in the middle of it. I'm kind of going, wait, what? Brain having a moment here. So
My question, because I wasn't there for the Pathfinder Society special that happened Saturday night, and so if anyone listening was there, please send us an email, hit us up on Facebook, let us know. Did they fill the room that night?
I'm sure they did.
Because they sold out of tickets real fast because there weren't as many tickets available. Usually we fill that room with all kinds of folks, and anybody that wants to come in can, and there are room for people that come in with generics that want to play.
I would guess yes, because
I've
I
sat at
thought
tables
everybody
where
wanted.
people with generics came in.
I would think that probably the first edition players would want to send their first edition favorite character out with a hoorah and a hip hip hooray, because that was the last one. So that's why I thought I thought that's why tickets were gone. Is everyone was like, this is my last chance to play my first edition character, and kind of that thing. But I don't know, because we weren't there. So
Yeah, it sold out within 10, 20 minutes online.
Yeah.
Before
So-
some people even got a chance to close their queue.
yeah. So okay, we need some happiness. Smiley
Happy.
face. Something. What is our next positive thing? Oh, positive Pete. Don.
Favorite game. What was your favorite gaming experience at GenCon 2019, Deb?
As funny as this is, I honestly think that it... oh, it's such a close tie. I actually think that it's the game that we played in our house, not the one we played there, but when all of us... so as you understood, we didn't get into the Pathfinder First Ed special Saturday night. But we all had First Ed characters that we kind of wanted to, send out and play one last time and, one final romp kind of thing. So we invited everyone to come over to our house Saturday night. I say everyone, it was what, 9 of us, I think?
9 players, yeah.
9 players. Level 6 to 9. And our friend Derek, who you've heard on here, ran it. And that was really fun. It was crazy. Please note, it was crazy. We were fighting a djinn. We were fighting a colossal red dragon we were fighting weird stuff. But that was really, really fun. But I will also then do a little shout out, a game called Horrified from Ravensburger. I did a play test of that on Thursday. Loved it. Then I dragged Josh over to it on Friday. We were walking the hall. I sat down. He started play testing it before we even threw one round. He liked it so much he ordered it on Target, and it will be here on Wednesday because they sold out.
Nice.
And legit, it was...
Hello, future people.
Exactly. It was amazing because it was a very easy mechanic to learn. You're fighting classic horror monsters, so like Dracula and the creature from the Black Lagoon and the Invisible Man.
I think I saw that game.
Yeah.
I think I saw it walking around.
You probably saw
It's a
people that bought it.
horror movie.
Horrified, yeah.
It's
yeah.
based off the Universal Monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
Frankenstein's Monster, The Bride.
It's at Ravensburger, the same people that do Villainous.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was their kind of
Okay. Then
new
I saw
release.
I saw a different game then.
Okay.
In the hall, in the convention hall.
Anyway, it was easy to learn. It scales up and down really easily. You can play 1 to 5 players with it, so a really nice range of players. It was just fun. If somebody had said, hey, we're just going to go over and play Horrified for the next 3 hours, I think I would have been like, cool, can I come with you? Because I had so much fun playing that game.
Joshy?
So I'm going to bring up second edition as well, again, because between the demo and the 2 society games, though I may not have been a big fan of the micromanagement style, I think what happened with us is we had some really eclectic groups, because like Friday night it was 2 rogues, a bard, a champion, and
A monk.
and a monk. Yep.
And then
when no healer,
We
and
had
then
no
somebody
healer.
sat down and took over Kira, so we had a cleric.
Thank
Nice.
goodness.
And then similar thing happened this morning because
we had 2 champions, 2 rogues, 2 champions, 2 rogues, a bard, and then somebody sat down and played a cleric.
so
I only chose Bard because I thought the Bard would have a healing spell to be a backup healer. And
Sure.
There wasn't.
No, that makes sense. And I
And
chose
that's
champion.
that's not the case. Bard did not have healing spells.
Right, and I actually played Sela
Yeah,
as a
to get lay on hands.
yeah, because I had lay on hands in case we needed some extra little bit of healing, but I wanted to play more of a fighty.
Here's the thing
character.
about lay on hands, because of focus ability, you get to do it once, and then you have to have a just 10-minute rest to get that focus point back.
Sure, that's fine.
But so, anyways, in both scenarios, somebody just sat down and happened to pick up the healer. What did we learn from this? Have a cleric.
You just need a healer.
You always need a healer. I was going to play the healer, people. I was
No.
going to do it, and Josh wouldn't let me.
I agree with that. You play the healer way too often.
Okay. So I'm playing
You
alone.
and I are done being the healer for the group for a while.
We are.
That's
okay.
fine.
All right.
And if the rest of the group doesn't like it,
they can
they can
die.
die.
But I
Accept
think
it.
I think what I enjoyed
can
most
die.
about it was, even though there was a little bit of micromanagement, there was also some flexibility, because in a couple of instances, even today, like, I had to ask the game master, can I do this? Can I stealth here because you described this? And he was, with enough coaxing, he was willing to understand the situation and let me go ahead and do it. And it allowed for some in-game moments that were pretty entertaining to see. Things like the goblin popping out from behind a column and stabbing this necromancer and then scurrying 15 feet away so they wouldn't get attacked later. Or, two champions and a cleric walking down the stairs with a giant statue, and they had to wait an entire turn to put their statue down while the rest of us are fighting 2 zombies, 2 skeletal warriors, and a necromancer. So there was just a lot of really cool visualization that happened. And as you're learning this new system, I think Nathaniel Hackett said it best. It's less realistic, but a better mechanic, particularly the action economy and stuff that, and we can talk more about that. But for me, it was nice to see, especially on Saturday night, 10 years Pathfinder's been out there to pick up the flag of Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, and Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition is out now. And Pathfinder has decided to evolve, whether it's a money grab or another way to enter. It is a money grab, but it's also another way to enter.
I think
I don't mean that as a bad thing.
I know that
business.
I know that. Well, and I was just going to say it's not like a money grab, as in, Paizo is just looking to get paid for whatever this.
Right.
They didn't reinvent 4th Ed.
No.
Like it's a good system.
Yeah.
It is very different than what we're used to.
I think it brought back those memories of when they announced Pathfinder 1st edition.
Yeah.
There was an excitement. There was a buzz. It was nice to be on that side of it.
Right. Well, and I think what I have experienced anyway, and being able to play a little bit I thought it was really cool that I got a chance to play 2nd Ed for the first time in a Pathfinder Society game, learn the mechanics in long form. And then I got a chance to sit down and play D&D 5th Ed literally right after that. And then right after that, sit down and play the short form version of it.
Sure.
To kind of solidify those things.
Gives you a lot of thought.
Which, by the way, just so you know, I played Kara.
Yeah.
As, in the demo.
There you go.
But it was neat to be able to kind of literally compare them head to head on the actual style of the game. Lance.
I agree with you that the moments are good. I would say that the moments are good on the table. If you are a theater of the mind player where you want to see the movie of it happening, that was a little taken aback. Like today, and someone else had said the same thing. There was a map, and there were numbers of rooms on the map, and then the GM just said, "All right, everyone, pick a room and go there."
Didn't explain why or what reason to go in there.
What they were is just these are rooms. If there was no map on the table, he would have said, "This is a barn. This is a tavern. This is a house. This is that. Go explore these places." Because why would a magic user go explore a blacksmith shop?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So maybe they would go to the library where they're more useful, more apt to find something using their skill set.
Right, but that's not a knock on the system in that instance. That's more the society scenario was put forth, and that's how that game master decided to show the scenario, like to visualize the scenario. Because if you Emerald Spire Super Dungeon, like everything that's in that, every level, every single room is numbered, but I have a map that doesn't have the number on it. I have one in the book that has the number on it, and then I have one that you can look at that doesn't. And the idea is this is what you can see.
I mean, that's
you can
how
turn left, you can go right.
Right.
He,
when I
do
do homebrew stuff, that's how I do it. It's like I'll have a mini map.
Decided to just lay it out and give the numbers, and then say choose a number. It's a different style of running, and I'm with you. I think if it had been, I don't care if the numbers are there, but tell me what it is and why I should go in there.
Why should I care?
Otherwise, it was fine.
GM thing versus the system
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
I don't think that was
would have
system related.
That would have turned me away much faster had you not said that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, there's no way that's a system thing. Sure. Having seen that's first edition, just the way scenarios are laid out, that all comes down to because I love playing scenarios, but I also know, particularly with this group, you guys like to visualize. And no, I don't do the full fog of war because honestly, that's a lot of work. But I'll put a map down and be like, you guys are here and you understand you can only see 60 feet. And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm not worried about you looking ahead going, why is there a waterfall, 120 feet over there? I'm not worried about the gamers doing that, but I'm not going to lay out the room and go, you got to make 3 checks in here. Come in there and tell me what you're going to do. And for something, if you're not doing what I need you to do, then I'll say, oh, why don't you maybe look for something? That's your key. It's just a difference in game mastering. And Adam taught me that. Derek taught me that. Don did that. We have apparently, and honestly, the last few years of society, we've had other game masters that have been that way. We just happened to get 2 guys that were very micromanaged, which is okay. Sometimes that's what's needed. And they've only had 4 weeks with the rules. Let's see how it goes next year.
They were probably all in freak out mode.
Yeah, right.
And it was last day.
Yeah.
And it was the last day,
Yeah,
so now
that's
we're
true.
exhausted. And I've only had 4 weeks.
All right. Before Princess Katie falls asleep, Princess Katie,
Yes.
what was
I
your
have
favorite
no
game?
Input for Pathfinder Society anything.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely 100%. It was the enormous Tower of Madness game that we played.
Oh, fun.
Tower of Madness, it's 7 feet tall. Jake and I just loved it. We talked about it, and like the way they did the game, normally in Tower of Madness, your one person is a character. We had so many people, 2 people were a character. We worked as a team. So that helped, like, it made it more lively, more competitive. There were more people to, like, kind of cheer and boo and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. It was just a really interesting game. It was a really neat setup, and we really, really enjoyed playing it, and the people who set it up were really cool people too. So yeah, that was hands down the best game that we played.
Cool.
All of GenCon.
Okay. Lance.
I can't narrow it down.
Nice.
To one game?
No, I have several, and I'm going to just shotgun them real quick.
Go for
because I can't choose. Playing D&D Kids with my daughter, where she tried to diplomize the dragon instead of kill it. The alternate Pathfinder Society game that we had, it could not have had a Gen Con without that moment.
Sure.
I would have really not liked Gen Con had we not done that. The escape room that was fantasy RPG based, best escape room I've ever done.
Nice.
And
That was Breakout Games, right? That did that, or was it the escape room? I want to know because I think it'd be one of those things to let them know.
You know offline.
Did you
because
do
I don't
it-
want to take up time
Okay.
to look it
Oh,
up.
okay. Oh, so did you do it at the con or did you do it at an outside
It was
location?
at the hotel.
Okay, then it wasn't the escape room because the escape room indie, like,
Okay, then it was. the
yeah,
other
they
one.
have their own building.
One other one, but it was the Dragon's Den is what it's called.
Okay.
And hands down, best one of those type things ever because it wasn't just a single room. It was several different places you had to go, different rooms, different puzzles or combat, whatever. So there's that. And the last one is the con game that I do every final day of the convention, the random encounter game, because I've had more interaction today than I have had in every other Gen Con. People
Sure.
say, hey, I like your shirt. And then we do the rock, paper, scissors to do that game.
Yeah. I like it. Okay, I would have to say that though almost every game that I played, I had a really good experience at. I had a lot of fun at. My favorite game for Gen Con 2019 was hands down the Cats in Space game that I played. The GM, as I talked about a little bit earlier, his name's Corey Fink, and I don't have the card, but I'll make sure that I'll post it when we post the episode. I'll make sure that there's some sort of posting of the company that designed the campaign and the supplement for it, because it's not a Pathfinder thing, but what they've done, it's OG, because that's what I meant. It's not a Starfinder race. I think they wrote their own OGL campaign supplement stuff for it, which is really a lot of fun.
There are cat folk in Pathfinder.
I know that, but these are called Catterday. Do they have Catterday? And
Not that I'm aware
no,
of.
I'm pretty sure they're called like Panthra or something like that in Starfinder. But my point is, the game itself was a super silly game, and it was a lot of fun, and it was 4 hours of us just being really goofy and kind of out there with our sci-fi-ness. And the fact that I got to play Boots the Decapitator, that was the captain of the Pouncer, my ship that I spent my life's fortune on to become a Han Solo-like Catterday and command the crew of the Pouncer. It was pretty fantastic. And we had a polar bear on our ship, who I cannot, for the life of me, remember the race that he was playing, but basically like the Chewbacca to my Han Solo. It was really funny. It was really funny. So I would have to say that was probably my favorite game. And again, it kind of led into my favorite non-gaming experience at the convention. So, man, a lot of really good things to talk about for Gen Con. We could probably record another 2 episodes of just the fun stuff that we did. The show was great that we did on Thursday, and we're definitely going to be doing that more often. Not just at Gen Con, we've been doing that at a lot of different conventions locally in Indy. If your convention is looking for a really good improv company that is local to the Indianapolis area and you want to get a hold of us, you can find us on Facebook, Breakfast Anytime Improv.
Can also reach out to the Established Facts so we can direct you to
because I know a couple of guys that are on the podcast that are also in the improv company.
And
Or
just
our stagehands.
real quick
right.
note, because I know Don and I keep talking about it. Katie, what did you think of the show?
I loved it. It was great. You guys did a really good job.
Lance and Debbie were both there too.
I know that, but Debbie and Lance have both been in conversations about it before, but I think this was Katie's first time seeing us. Am I correct? Did you see
No, I
us?
saw you guys at
saw it.
PopCon.
Yeah.
Was it PopCon?
Last
I don't
year.
remember who all was that. Last year. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure to give everyone their opportunity to talk about us.
Sure.
I like breakfast anytime like I like my coffee.
What's that?
Anytime.
Anytime.
Nice.
Okay. I guess, man, there's so much more that I want to talk about. But,
I know.
But we're
Finally got
at
to
like
play a Ravenloft
we're at
game.
like 4 hours now,
Close.
and close to 4 hours. This has literally become a campaign unto itself. I would like to personally thank, on behalf of the Established Facts and everybody here, all of the game masters that ran games for us and for anyone else at Gen Con this year. You guys are kind of the lifeblood of the gaming verse that is Gen Con. Obviously, without players, you wouldn't have games, but without GMs running those games, there would be a bunch of people just sitting around tables.
And
so
all the volunteers.
And all the volunteers,
Oh,
yeah.
heck
You
yeah.
guys kill it. I mean, there mistakes happen. The issue that we ran into with our show on Thursday, that kind of stuff happens, and really all you can do is learn from it on both sides and, try and do better next time. So anyway, I would love to talk more about this, but I definitely don't want to make this a 2-hour-long episode. So, on episode 202 of the Established Facts, because we didn't technically establish a fact on 203, I don't believe. But on episode 202 of the Established Facts, we established that 49 years of collective experience, and we are still trying to get it right. And I think we can all agree that we got a lot of things right this year and a few things not so right. But again, we're always learning. And on episode 204, our post-Gen Con 2019 episode, we have established that now that Gen Con 2019 is over, we look forward to next year, and our vision is 2020. Thank you all for listening to episode 204 of The Established Facts. I am your host, Big Don, and we will check you later.
Good night.
Bye.
Doses.
Please visit us at www.theestablishedfacts.com and our Facebook page, facebook.com/theestablishedfacts. If you would like to support us by buying some merchandise, visit cafepress.com/castingrobot.
Bonus